Good evening and welcome to the July 3rd, 2023 regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to ask our outgoing council member in his final meeting at the dais, Ryan Spiegel, to lead us in the pledge. If everyone can please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well done, well done. Next item on our agenda is reflection, and I'd like to call for a moment of silence, please. Thank you all very much. We don't have any sets of minutes to approve tonight, so we're going to go into presentations, and I'm going to join Dennis down at the podium for the first quarter 2023 Employee and Team Recognition Awards.
If we can have the employees who are here, Lynn and Maura, and her crew, if she wants to bring up the whole crew. Tonight we're here to congratulate the 2023 first quarter awards for the city of Gaithersburg. Congratulations to Maria, or Chilo as we all call her, Membro, and the opioid team, which are the winners for this first quarter, which is from January 1st to March 1st. The winners were nominated by their peers, and the nominations are based on the criteria reflecting the city's values under the strategic plan. Those values are accountability, caring, excellence, integrity, teamwork, or as we call it, ACEIT. The final selections were made by the Employee Recognition Committee and which is comprised of employees from each department. Chilo is a member of our Parks and Recreation Department. She serves as the custodian and maintenance worker at the Kentlands Mansion. She was nominated for effectively serving as the heart of the mansion. Chilo has been with the city for 28 years, which is a very long time for most employees, and she does a great job. She's a valued member of the staff, and she is usually the first person to greet visitors and making them feel welcome and ensuring that they have everything they needed for a successful event at the Kentlands Mansion. Her dedication and commitment is evident to everyone who works or visits the mansion. The opioid abatement team includes staff members from several different departments. Mary Armbruster, Jimmy Fraser Bay, Maureen Herndon, and Jennifer Leaz are from the Community Development and Neighborhood and Housing Services Department. Tim, or Smitty as we call him, Smith, and Maura Denwetter, who's here with the kids, are with the Parks and Recreation and Culture Department. Janice Hartman, Penny Crowley are with the Finance Department. Dan Lane is with the Police Department, and Lynn Board, who is also here, and Eric Perla are from the Office of the City Attorney. The opioid abatement team was created in the fall of 22 based upon an award of funds for the opioid litigation settlements. So it's a unique committee that we don't have as a standing committee, but the team got together really quickly. They were responsible for implementing the opioid education, prevention, and treatment programs to combat opioid addiction in the community. In order to leverage the funds that the city received more effectively, the team carefully evaluated programs and connected with community partners. The team was recognized for its collaboration with Montgomery County Goes Purple, the Montgomery County Health Department, the Montgomery County Public Schools, which all arranged for Tony Hoffman to speak to students at the city-served middle schools and high schools about teen mental health and substance abuse issues. Tony is a dramatic speaker and is a former BMX racer, a U.S. Olympic coach, and a person in a long-term recovery. He also spoke to the parents of the community after the events at the schools. The team's collaboration efforts embodied brainstorming ideas to turn into programming and contracts that were approved in record time. We had a very short time period that the team had to work with to try to get the funds expended. By leveraging the funding and organizational skills, the teams were able to expand the outreach to the program to reach almost 1,000 of middle schoolers and high schoolers regarding the community issues. With that, we congratulate the winners.
All right. You didn't see that? It was just here.
Come on.
End of the day. Long day at
Congratulations.
camp. Same
Hey,
to
we
do.
get one coming up for the next
And I'm
one,
going to be
too.
here for the next one.
Okay, let's get a picture.
You want to be in it? Thank you.
Yeah, that's the one I- okay. All right, yeah, you gotta stay up here. And any other sport? Did we have anybody else? For sports fans?
Anyone else want to come up first?
All right. I was talking about your kids.
No,
but-
I know. I
Okay.
think they're on break.
Jim is gonna read the background material, then I'll read the proclamation. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since 1985, America has celebrated July as Park and Recreation Month, a program of the National Recreation and Park Association, or NRPA. The goal is to raise awareness of the vital impact that parks and recreation has on communities across the United States. This year's theme, Where Community Grows, celebrates the vital role parks and recreation play in bringing people together, providing essential services, and fostering the growth of our communities. Issuing this proclamation will remind Gaithersburg residents of the importance of our parks and recreation programs, facilities, staff, and volunteers, while encouraging everyone to embrace active lifestyles and improve their overall health. In celebration of Park and Recreation Month, the city is offering a variety of opportunities for health, fitness, and the cultural arts, including Summerfest just this past July 1st, Diverse at Casey Poetry on July 6th, Skywatching at Observatory Park on July 8th, Sports Fest on July 15th, Let's Cook at Casey Jr. Barbecue Chicken on July 12th, On Stage at the Arts Barn, The Revolutionists, July 14th through the 23rd, Murder at the Mansion, Murder on the Metropolitan by Dean Fiala on July 21st and 22nd, Tasty Books at Casey Community Center, The Sandcastle That Lola Built on July 22nd, Storytime Station at the Community Museum July 25th, and Know Your Rights with Maryland Legal Aid at Casey Community Center on July 28th. For all activities and for more information, please visit the city's website.
All right, proclamation of the Mayor and City Council of Gaithersburg. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Gaithersburg. And whereas parks and recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And whereas every day parks and recreation professionals provide essential services, making their communities better places to live, work, and play. And whereas local parks are often our first experiences in nature and provide introductions to hobbies and physical activities, and whereas parks and recreation activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development, and whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation for those who have differing mental or physical abilities, improve mental and emotional health, and also provide a space for all ages to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. Now, therefore, I, Judd Ashman, by the power vested in me as Mayor of Gaithersburg, do hereby proclaim July 2023 as Parks and Recreation Month in the city of Gaithersburg and encourage our residents to explore all that the city's parks and recreation programs have to offer for all ages and abilities. Proclaim this third day of July and signed by me. And let's give Maura and her kids a great round of applause.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, next item on our agenda is public comments. This is the time the mayor and council would like to hear from anybody who'd like to speak on a city topic that's not a public hearing, and that's kind of easy because we don't have any public hearings tonight. We ask that you state your name and address or neighborhood for the record. Keep your comments no more than 3 minutes. If you have more than 3 minutes worth of material to deliver to us, please send the rest. Use your 3 minutes here and send us the rest in writing. We'll consider it just like any oral testimony. Is there anybody here who'd like to testify this evening? Mike Sesma.
Surprise.
Welcome.
Now, do I need to say my name? Just said.
Yes, you do. Say your name and address or neighborhood. Go right
Good
ahead.
evening, Mayor and Council, City Attorney, Deputy City Manager, and Doris, our City Clerk. I believe this is her last meeting. I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity to say thank you for her great years of service. My name is Mike Sesma. I live in the West Riding subdivision, in Gaithersburg, and a former member of the council. In fact, I'm the Dean Emeritus of the council, and will have served longer than any other recent Dean Emeritus of the council. So I'm here also because it's my understanding that my former colleague and friend, Mr. Spiegel, has accepted a demotion to the state assembly as delegate from District 17 from the dean, as you know, leaving the position of Dean of the Council of one of the most influential municipal governments in the state of Maryland to become a backbencher in the state assembly. But you deserve credit for all the work you did accomplish. And I was glad to be there. I think we, together and as a council, we accomplished a lot of things together. We didn't always agree. And when you didn't agree with me, then you were wrong. But I think everybody understands that. But you did come up with some great ideas that I never thought of before you brought them up. So I want to congratulate you on that. So anyway, I want to thank you for your service to the city as a council member. And I know you'll continue to serve the city as a delegate in the Maryland House of Delegates. I know I've still got your number. Of course, you've got mine, so you'll know whether to block it or not. Take the call. But wish you good luck, and I wanted to make sure that I was here to say that. I understand there's another celebration happening. One of your colleagues told me, "Are you coming to the roast on Monday night?" And I didn't know there was a roast, so I'm just waiting to hear those comments. Anyway. Oh, was that? Am I roasting you? No. Anyway, all the best to you in your career choice. As I told you, I thought you were more powerful here than you would be in the state assembly, but I know you'll figure out a way to be heard. You always do. So, my best wishes on your next career move. I know my former colleagues will be looking for somebody, but you're leaving big shoes to fill. So, congratulations on your move. That's really all I have to say. So, thank you. It's nice to be here. And Doris, congratulations for your years of service to the city. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you, my friend.
That deserves a round of applause. Do we have anybody else who'd like to testify this evening here? Not seeing anybody. I'm going to check Zoom. Is there anybody if anybody on Zoom would like to offer testimony tonight, use the Zoom raise hand button and I'll call on you. I am looking, going once, going twice. Okay, I don't see any Zoom testimonies. All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike, for that testimony. Next, we're going to go to from the mayor and council, and we're going to start with Neil.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So, Mike, I hate to tell you this, but the mayor said, no, the roasting is on Fridays instead of tonight, so you're not going to get to hear all the wonderful remarks just yet. To be continued.
Long of roasting. Great.
It's a roast week here in Gaithersburg. So, some events that we had recently. On Saturday night, we had our annual Summerfest, which was a nice event, despite the fact that Mother Nature keeps trying to cross us up. Everybody found shelter from the storm for as long as it lasted, and then went back out in time for fireworks and music and acrobats and jugglers and dancing and all kinds of good stuff. So the folks who were brave enough to come out in the elements had a wonderful time, and we hope for better weather at next year's Summerfest. Attended the annual MML conference, which was as productive as ever, both daytime activities and a chance to interact with our peers and colleagues across the state in the evening. And attended the Economic Development Committee's monthly meeting, where there was a very stimulating discussion about the state of the office market here in Gaithersburg and in surrounding areas. Thanks to people working from home, the office market has some significant challenges. The city is bucking up as well as it can under the circumstances, and some creative solutions are being thought of. So I'll keep it short. I have many remarks to save for Friday. I know the suspense is killing Brian, but in all seriousness, it's been great working with you for almost 9 years that I've been on the council. I would look up to you if you were bigger, but that's not part of the Friday night routine. That was some extra fun.
Quick preview.
That was gratuitous. But anyway, seriously, Mike's right about the big shoes to fill, and you've accomplished a lot, both for us and for the MML and others in our state. So we look forward to you kicking some butt in Annapolis and getting more things done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. We'll go to Rob.
Thanks, Mayor. So 6A was the...
Yeah.
Okay, so just have an announcement. Gaithersburg residents will cast their ballots for 3 city council members on Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. Candidate packets were released on Thursday, May 11th. Packets can be picked up at City Hall by appointment or accessed on the city's election website. The last of 2 mandatory candidate sessions will be held on August 15, 2023 at 7:30 p.m. Candidates are required to register for the session. Deadline for candidates to file is Thursday, August 24th by 5 p.m. For additional information or to register for training, please contact Elections Clerk Lauren Klingler at 240-805-1087 or cityelections@gaithersburgmd.gov. For complete election information, go to www.gaithersburgmd.gov/elections. I'll ditto Neil's comments, I guess, about Summerfest. Mother Nature keeps trying to put us down, but this year was great. The fireworks display was great. It seemed to never end. I mean, they just kept shooting fireworks, but always a fun time. I did dress up tonight because it's Ryan's last night here. For the last 2 weeks I've been overseas with my family on vacation, so I apologize for missing the past 2 sessions, including the last session, where I understand the accolades for Ryan went on longer than his usual mayor from the council's soliloquies. So I'll just save some stuff for Friday, but I did want to say it's been great working with you. Came on the council in 2015 for the second half of your 16 years, and I learned a lot from you over time. We advanced some stuff together that I think was for the benefit of the city. I did mention when I was watching the D17 stuff from overseas, I was in Sweden. I was actually in Stockholm. I was touring the various sites, including the Nobel Prize Museum. So I was talking to the Nobel Committee about all the great work that you've been doing in Gaithersburg. I'm surprised they knew about it, and they said to actually pass along to you a Nobel Prize award made of chocolate. And so this is actually from the Nobel Committee for you. I'll pass it along. You could write them a letter of thank you. I'm just the intermediary.
That is amazing.
But seriously, it's been great. You'll do great things in Annapolis, and we'll save all the other stuff for Friday.
Thank you, my friend.
I noticed in that container there's more than one Nobel Prize. Who else? Who else?
There's one for music. There's one for literature.
Gotcha. All right, so that's going to be coming this way. Gotcha. All right. I guess we'll go to Jim.
Thank you. I guess that's the gift that we'll keep on giving. Thank you, Mayor. I'll start with Summerfest. Incredible job by staff to roll with the punches as the rain came in and being able to accommodate everybody in the activity center. Last year was a great dress rehearsal for that. So we now, I guess, have a standing procedure on how to evacuate during a storm. But the event was fantastic. It was really well attended. Particularly, I think, there was a good crowd before the storms came in, and I think a lot of folks waited until after they were done. And then as it got time for the fireworks, it was thick. I mean, it was us walking back to our seats. It was a really good crowd. I had my niece and nephew and my brother with me, nieces and nephew, and they had a blast, no pun intended. It was really a good time to be there. So kudos to the entire team that helped pull that together. I had the opportunity to attend a ribbon cutting with the mayor for the new Chick-fil-A that opened up at the corner of Montgomery Village and 355. It's rare that I'm able to attend a ribbon cutting in the middle of the day, but there was going to be food, so I needed to make sure that I made it there. I tried to drag my children to that because they love Chick-fil-A as well, but it was in the morning, so that just wasn't going to happen. But all kidding aside, that is such an important property for the city, and to have the first business on that space open up is a really big deal for us, and what a great story, and I apologize, I didn't write his name down, but the owner-operator of the Chick-fil-A is a hometown kid. He went to Forest Oak Middle School, he went to Gaithersburg High School, and now he is opening up his business in arguably the most visible intersection in the city. So what a great moment for him and his family, and we're excited to have them, and looking forward to seeing that property continue to fill out and become vibrant once more. Also had the opportunity to attend the MML conference, and this year I began the MML Academy, which is a certificate program in conjunction with the University of Maryland in excellence in governance. And I was able to get 5 of the core courses done, and there's still a lot of work to do over the next few years. But they do a really nice job of giving a really good overview of what it takes to be a elected official, and different areas of expertise that you're going to need to know. Having been in this position almost 2 years now, some of it was definitely review, but it was really good to have experts and be surrounded by a number of our constituents, or not our I'm going to blank on the word, our counterparts. That was the C word I was trying to find. Counterparts from across the state. So I was really glad to be able to be a part of that. And finally, to Ryan, I've had the pleasure of knowing Ryan as a colleague for the past 2 years. I've known him as a constituent for, I guess, 14 of your 16 years. Part of why I'm sitting here is when I was an HOA president, and having to petition the city for relief for some challenges that some of our residents were having. And I really appreciated the thoughtfulness that you always brought to the table here in really trying to find solutions that were equitable for all parties involved. Trying to come up with solutions that maybe not exactly what we were asking for, but finding something that maybe made sense. And I saw you do that up here, regardless of what the topic was. Having the legal background that you do, has been a tremendous benefit for us. You and Rob being lawyers, but having different approaches and different experiences. for us non-lawyers, it was always good to have, in addition to Lynn and the city attorney team, just to have that experience and be able to ask you questions, and always appreciated that. So I have no doubt that you will continue to represent us well in Annapolis. I think you'll be able to do great things for Gaithersburg. And I know that there will always be a spot on the trolley for you at upcoming events. So thank you for all of your encouragement over the years. Thank you for your guidance over the years, because being one of the newbies, I definitely look to you on to how to ask questions, the kind of questions to ask. And I'm definitely going to try to use that going forward in my work as a council member. So thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. Lisa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also attended MML for 3 days in Ocean City and took the academy classes as well. And I appreciate being a council member with the city of Gaithersburg when we roll into MML. As the staff is with us, my council members are with us, and we wear these Gaithersburg logos, and immediately it is respected. It is something to be proud of, and I am proud and privileged to be a part of this council and with this staff when we go to MML. And I look forward to it. I will look forward to it again next year. And Ryan, you had better come as a delegate to hang out at MML. Summer Fest, congratulations to staff for putting on quite a show. It was amazing how many people went into the activity center to wait it out because they still wanted to celebrate with the residents of the city of Gaithersburg because it was so much fun. And it did not disappoint. The fireworks were amazing. I immediately became a 4-year-old when they started to go off. And every time it paused and started again, I was just excited. And then stayed after I keep saying the afterglow party, the afterglow party was amazing with the band and the music and dancing and had a great time. So kudos to all who came and to staff who put on quite a show. To my colleague, Ryan. Ryan has been my council member for some time. And then for the almost past 2 years, colleague and then friend. And I am so proud to have the opportunity to sit next to you on this dais. I'm not sure how that worked out, but it is my fortunate time to have been here for this time to sit next to you. Thank you for your mentorship. It has meant the world to me. Thank you for walking into rooms with me, and immediately I am credible because I'm walking with Ryan Spiegel. I will always appreciate that. I wish you the absolute best in the future. Don't forget us because we will hunt you down. But I know life has incredible opportunities for you, and I look forward to all the things that will rain on you and that you will achieve. And congratulations. And I can't wait till Friday.
All right, so a bunch of nice things have been said about Ryan. Let's give him a round of applause. Your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, this sure is a little awkward after the 22-minute farewell speech I gave at our last council meeting. But, I'm going to keep it short tonight, but I just first want to say thank you so much to all my colleagues, past and present, for your beautiful words. I look forward to the roasting, Bring It On this week, and all the celebrations. I'm really, really touched. It's just amazing to hear all of that and to be with all of you, and I certainly will not be a stranger. I do have a formal announcement tonight. Gaithersburg residents will cast their ballots for 3 city council members on Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. The city is conducting a hybrid election for 2023, and all registered voters will receive a mail-in ballot application. Applications can be returned via USPS, dropped off at City Hall, or completed electronically. One vote center will be located at the Activity Center at Borer Park for in-person voting. In addition, there will be 7 ballot drop boxes located throughout the city. Early voting sessions, one early voting session will be held at the Activity Center on Sunday, October 29th
from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the Voter Center will be open on Election Day, Tuesday, November 7th, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. For complete election information, you can go to www.gaithersburgmd.gov/elections or contact Elections Clerk Lauren Klingler at 240-805-1087 or by email to cityelections@gaithersburgmd.gov. And let me just say for the last time at comments from the mayor and city council, to all of you from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
All right. All right, so I am going to let the comments about Ryan stand on their own. I will save the rest of mine for our reception on Friday. I do want to, Dennis, ask you to convey our deep congratulations to staff on Summerfest. It was terrific, and so was MML. And I'm going to read a formal announcement about upcoming sessions, and then I have a couple items of business for the council I want to bring up. So first off, we will have a work session next Monday, July 10th, to receive an update on the Great Seneca Highway pedestrian bridge project. And so you can participate either in person or over Zoom, just like tonight. And if you have any questions, you can email mccservices@gaithersburgmd.gov. So the couple of items of business. First off, we're about to have a vacancy here at the dais, and the way I see it is the council has two choices. We can either begin an appointment process, or since Ryan's seat is up in any event in this November's election, we could leave it vacant and let it just be settled through the election. And so I wanted to open it up to the council members, see what they wanted to do. Neil, go ahead.
So I was leaning in the direction of filling the seat until I thought through the timing and realized that by the time we filled the seat by an appointment, it would be probably September at the earliest. And appointing someone for the last 2 months before an election, probably less than 2 months, just seems inappropriate. So I would be inclined to leave it be and leave it up to the voters in November and hope that we don't have a lot of 2-2 votes in the meantime.
Yeah, we don't have sessions from the end of July and then basically all of August.
Yes, we have a recess during August, so that is correct.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on this, Rob?
So I will note if the mayor had a vote that he could break ties, but I think it makes sense to, assuming it's compliant with the charter, given the timing of it. I mean, I don't think we even get to receive applications probably until September, and then doing our process probably not till October. It just seems too tight.
Yeah. And Lynn, just to the charter question, you believe that
Yeah, I did take a look at the provisions in the charter, and I think that you would be authorized to leave the position open until the election.
Okay, and anyone else want to speak to this? Lisa?
I agree with Rob and Neil that the timing would be very close, it would be very tight, so to leave it vacant.
Okay, Jim?
I agree as well, and one of the things I was thinking in looking at the code is, while it says that we shall, in talking to Lynn about, being able to leave it open because an election's coming and that would fulfill the requirements of the code. I think it might make sense in the future to amend the code to set a standard that, for example, if the packets are out, that we should just let it versus leaving that discretion. But at least for now, I'm completely comfortable with.
Right. You wouldn't want a council leaving a vacant spot for 3 years. You
Correct.
want
But
something
if
like that.
once we're into election season where the city has put out packets for people and people have declared that they're running, I just think it makes sense to leave it vacant until the election.
Okay. Lynn, do we need a motion or anything, or just no action
No, I
is
think
fine?
the consensus is fine.
Okay. All right, the second item of business that I wanted to bring up to the council, the county is considering a rent control bill, as everyone in the dais knows. And what has come out of committee, and will be going to the full county council, would limit rent increases in Montgomery County to the Consumer Price Index inflation rate, or CPI, plus 3 percentage points with a full cap, a maximum cap of 6 percentage points. And they're probably going to consider the bill in the next couple weeks. And the main point of these remarks is really to get support for the city to send in a letter, and I'm going to explain why. I mean, in theory, I can understand why rent control sounds like a good thing. During COVID, rent increases were constrained countywide and in the municipalities. And once the state of emergency was lifted, rents went up all over the place, both to catch up with what they would have done during COVID and to catch up with inflation. And this has caused hardship for people whose incomes aren't enough to sustain or easily sustain these increases. While at the same time, they're dealing with inflation we've seen all across the economy, as we all are. And I know that my colleagues here and I are equally pained and concerned about situations where this is the case. This mayor and council, as you know, is a group that voluntarily dedicates a large amount of our budget to support people in need, and we're proud of it. We care deeply about the well-being of our residents and all of our neighbors in Montgomery County. I believe that the best, most efficient way to help people in need is through safety net programs or even individual subsidies, such as the county's rental assistance program, and other types of emergency assistance that our community services division connects people with every day. So if a family needs help, let's get them the help. That's what we've done here in Gaithersburg. Likewise, the best way to combat the increase in housing costs is to continue to foster new investment, approve new housing units to be built, and ensure that at least 15% of those new units are affordable as MPDUs. That's also what we've done here in Gaithersburg. But rent control is not the right solution, and I'm going to walk through some reasons why. Let's say the bill passes, and we have a hypothetical renter named Johnny, and he's paying $2,000 a month for a unit. And let's say that the market rate for that unit is $2,500. But under rent control, the property owner could only raise Johnny's rent by 6% to $2,120 a month. So the end of Johnny's lease comes up, and he wants to renew, but the property owner refuses, because once Johnny leaves, the property owner could then lease it out to the next person at the full $2,500 a month. So under rent control, whenever the market rate for rentals goes up beyond the 6% allowable rent increase, the property owner has an incentive not to renew leases, and thus we will see an increase in turnover and people who are just out of luck. Rent control will impact county tax revenue and force cuts in county services, which will extend to the city of Gaithersburg, by the way, because we get some of our funding and definitely some of our services provided by the county. So you say, how will it do that? Well, when rent control is implemented, property owners are likely to rerun their cash flow projections to determine the impact of the law on the value of their properties. So if they find that their property values have been decreased, which is likely, they will appeal their state tax assessments. And if those appeals are successful, which they reasonably should be, it will cut into the county's tax revenue. Property taxes represent more than 26% of county revenue, and we could be talking about many millions of dollars in reduction. That money is used to provide services, so if our renter Johnny needs help, he's going to have less of it. Under rent control, the services that the county and by extension the city provides for people in need are likely to be reduced because county tax revenues are likely to be reduced. So our renter Johnny did not get his lease renewed and needs to find a new place to rent, but it's not easy because rent control creates additional risk and constrains the potential return on investment for building new rental units in a way that other investments will not. Rational investors are likely to reconsider an investment in new housing units in Montgomery County. For example, under rent control, if a property owner keeps all the same tenants and there's no turnover and inflation doesn't get out of control and there's no unforeseen expenses, the like everything goes right, the maximum year-over-year growth in return they can expect is 6%. By contrast, today, you can invest in U.S. Treasuries and get at least a 5.3% return without any of the risk or uncertainty associated with owning and managing a property. If the investor prefers the stock market, and that does come with risk, historically, the annual growth of an investment in the S&P 500 index is around 10%. This is to say that with rent control, we are likely to see a dramatic reduction in the construction of new rental units because investors have better, safer investment options. Rental prices in Montgomery County, as everywhere, are driven by supply and demand. The demand for housing is outpacing the supply, therefore the prices go up. What the county needs is more housing. If people stop building new housing, ultimately rents will go up. So I would say further on this point, we're likely to see conversions from apartments to condos because simply selling off the properties will make more sense to some property owners than taking on this additional risk and uncertainty. These conversions will reduce the rental inventory and the choices even further for people like Johnny, who's still out there looking for a new place to live. So under rent control, we are likely to see a reduction in rental unit inventory, higher market prices, and fewer affordable options for people who want to live in Montgomery County. There's also the consideration of the overall quality of rental properties. If existing property owners are constrained in their return on investment, they will have less financial incentive to renovate their properties and keep them nice. Have you ever visited someone in a rent-controlled building in New York City? I'll tell you right now, it's not great, to say the least. Residents, like our hypothetical Johnny, deserve a better quality of life. Under rent control, we are likely to see a diminished condition of rental properties in Montgomery County. So to sum up, rent control will bring us higher turnover as property owners have an incentive not to renew leases, a reduction in property tax revenue that will likely lead to reductions in services, a dramatic reduction in new rental units which will drive market prices higher, also, an increase in condo conversions, which will reduce the overall rental inventory, and less upkeep, maintenance, and condition of existing rental properties. These impacts will not help the people that I believe the County Council is trying to help. I'm asking for our council to support a letter that I would submit on behalf of the city expressing all of those concerns about this bill and this policy. As always, it is our goal to help our residents in our community in the most efficient ways possible. There are many, many better ways to do this, and that's where our focus should be. So, I have made my statement and put it out to you guys if you would support a letter on behalf of the city expressing our concerns about rent control. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the depth to which you have formed your opinion on this, and I think it's well suited. I mean, we've talked about affordable housing in this space many times, and as you rightly point out, a lot of our budget goes towards rental assistance and helping people afford to live where we are. During the conversation during COVID, I was on record saying, while philosophically I don't believe in rent control, I voted in favor of extending the moratorium because at the time we were asking people to stay home when they were sick, where we had first responders who had to go, out there and putting themselves out there, and I felt it was the right thing to do to protect the people that we were asking to put their health on the line, and to make decisions that could support public health. I think the points that you make out are quite valid as far as the concerns that we have about investment in Montgomery County, investment in housing and in creating options. I do believe that it could have a chilling effect on investment in the county. We already talk about why are we seeing Montgomery County not keeping pace with the rest of the DMV when it comes to business development. And we know that there's a housing shortage. I've been proud to see Gaithersburg, already meeting the goals of housing development as far as the percentage between single family and multifamily. I'm very concerned that the proposal is going to have a chilling effect on investment and in housing starts. And I hadn't even thought about the challenges that property managers will have to face and whether they convert buildings to condos just because they don't see the profit in it for them. I know that this is coming from a place of good faith. I think that people are definitely trying to help folks that are struggling to keep pace with the rent. My brother is still renting in the area. We talk often about the challenges of being able to go from renting to purchasing, and I haven't rented in a while, but I remember the challenges of facing rent increases and not having that certainty. I am in favor of the city taking a stand in saying that the proposal is too narrow and it's not in the best interest of the city and the county.
Lisa?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You checked the big box for me with the property owners not maintaining the property because the claim or the reality that they're then strapped. You hit a max and you don't have the income to put back into the property, and it does look like the rent control in New York City where folks are paying high rent and living in rundown places because they're not properly maintained. I was in favor of the moratorium during COVID, but that was a special situation where we all believed, I certainly did, that would come to an end. And people needed short-term help and immediate help to get through that crisis. And this is a different situation. And as Councilmember McNulty said, I believe the intention is there to help out. The country's in a crisis, in a housing crisis, and the intent there is to help in that crisis. I too believe it's a supply and demand problem. Build more supply, and we'll see the cost of housing go down. There just has to be more supply. So I am in favor of supporting your letter, and for the reasons that I've stated.
Thank you, Lisa. Ryan, you're leaving, but you're still here.
Can't get out of this one, huh? Well, I agree with what's been said, and I want to remind everybody that the question before us is not whether all rent stabilization policies of any kind or other types of rent caps are problematic, but the specific proposal being advanced to the full county council. And so I thought you did a good job of honing in specifically on the conditions in the specific policy that has been advanced and the specific caps that are in that policy and why they're problematic. And I'll echo what's already been said about, I think there's good faith on both sides here. I think the people who have concerns also come from a place of good faith, and your entire presentation about your well-thought reasons for why you're concerned shows that you want to make sure that we are advancing housing supply and other protections that actually work for the people of the city and the people of the county. And I think, as has been said, certainly good faith from those who are trying to figure out how to, address the emergency situation right now for those who are suffering from the rent increases. So I think when you consider the fact that everybody's coming from a place of good faith, when the question before us is really just comments and concerns about the specific policy being advanced in the county council, and what you're asking of us is, do you have the council's blessing and permission to submit a letter of those concerns with respect to this particular policy that's being considered? I think the answer is yes.
Okay. Neil?
So I agree with everything you said, Mayor, and I support your letter. Having taken way too many economics classes and studying rent control and its impacts as part of the courses, it's very destructive potentially. I have grave concerns about the future of this county economically and viability. If you don't increase the tax base, then eventually you need to raise the tax rates even further than it's already been raised. So it's a spiral that moves in a bad direction. The real answer is, of course, as as Lisa Henderson said, we need more supply. And if you put rent control in place, that depresses supply. So it's exactly the opposite of what I think we need. It's trying to control the market forces when the demand is there. People want to live here. They want to send their kids to school here. And we're pushing the wrong button in order to make that work. I was just on the internet looking at some statistics, and just to make a quick point, Gaithersburg is about 50-50 between owners and renters, and so we're on an ongoing basis providing additional supply. We're doing more than our part to make sure that people have places to live, and whether they're renters or owners. And the county, I'm afraid, is really taking a misguided approach to this issue. So again, I support the letter, and I think rent control is generally proven to be a bad idea. And I understand that people don't want to see big increases. The fact is, there was a spike post-COVID after some of the constraints on rent increases went away. But that has pretty much died down in all the statistics I've seen. I think there was something in the Wall Street Journal just last week showing that rents are actually starting to decrease nationwide after a period of increases. So I don't know. I'm sorry that the county council is going in this direction, and I support the letter.
Thanks, Neil. Rob?
So I will respectfully disagree with the city taking a position on this issue, because I hope Lynn's listening. I believe this legislation is being adopted under a section of the county's code that is not binding on the city of Gaithersburg.
It is a section of the county code that the city has not opted into.
Okay. And so I think the bigger question, and I appreciate your thoughts, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, you put a lot of thought into that, and what you spoke there rivals any speech Brian's given in the past in language. You've only spoken that much about the book festival, I think, in the past. But
Not true, but go ahead.
No. I do appreciate the thoughtful pen to paper you put there, but I disagree in that I don't think the city should be taking an official position with respect to legislation that is not going to ultimately be binding on us. And so this discussion that we're having right here, I think will be coming to the city, and I think we will have the opportunity to deliberate what is best for the city of Gaithersburg. I will put a plug in that we do have the CULTA, and they do have charter authority to have weigh in on policies, and this seems to be a policy that's in their area. So, when we do have that debate, I would hope that we would put this before the CULTA first, have them develop a record, have them develop, that which will come before us in recommendations, and ultimately we will make a decision that is right for Gaithersburg. But for the city to take a position officially in a concurrent jurisdiction, so this is not something that is binding on us, which some legislation that the county passes is binding on us. This would not be, I think, wholeheartedly support individual council members and mayors writing letters and expressing opinions on it. I just don't think it's appropriate for the city to be taking an official position.
Okay. Any further comments to that?
Yeah, I disagree with you, Rob, and the reason is, despite the fact that we have our own jurisdiction and we don't have to opt into this, they've got us surrounded, and it's in our best interest that the county itself remain healthy. And so I think we want to let them know that there are potential severe repercussions for doing what they're doing that impact us even if we don't opt into that sort of policy.
Agree.
And if I may, Mr.
Yeah,
Rapp,
go ahead.
Not only are we surrounded and we want the county to be successful, but as you pointed out, it will likely impact the revenue available to the city coming from the county. And that's where we have a stake in this particular legislation versus something that we'd be opting into. There would be an impact to the city of Gaithersburg, and that's why I do feel it's appropriate for us to take a stance.
Agree. Lisa?
Agree with Jim's statements.
Okay. All right. Well, I am sensing the numbers as 4-1 in favor of a letter. So, Lynn, do we need a motion or
Yeah,
we good?
consensus is fine.
Okay. Okay. Well, then we are going to go to from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I haven't had the opportunity to publicly acknowledge Councilmember Spiegel, but I would like to say congratulations on your upcoming appointment, which will happen this week, to the House of Delegates, and I'm pleased that you'll be representing Gaithersburg as a member of the District 17 delegation. In addition, I want to make sure that you know it's not just my thanks for your work, but it's the entire staff's thanks for your work over this last 16 years as a council member. You have made a significant impact on the community, and we have really enjoyed working with you. My kind of closing statement is, while you'll be helping us in other areas, you will be missed on the dais. I mean, we really value your feedback and participation in the community, and really helped us move on a number of issues, which you pointed out and will actually point out on Friday too some more. So congratulations.
Thank you.
The last item I have is I wanted to thank, on behalf of myself and City Manager Briley, our appreciation for the staff for all the hard work they do in making this year's Summerfest event successful. As always, they do a tremendous job, and they're always quick to adapt to the changing weather patterns that we have during this event that occurs every year. So with the heartfelt thanks for everyone at the staff level, thanks for what you do, and to the residents, we appreciate what you do, and happy 4th of July, which you'll have off tomorrow. Thanks for most of it.
Thank you, Dennis. Tom, you wanted to, we're nixing the economic development. Okay, we're going to ordinances, resolutions, and regulations. Maureen Walker, please join us.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. So I just wanted to start off by extending my congratulations to Council Members Spiegel. Best of luck in your next adventure. And also to Doris. I've loved working with you, so many congratulations. So hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Maureen Walker, and I'm the Program Coordinator for the Division of Housing with the Department of Community, Neighborhood, and Housing Services. Thank you so much for allowing me time to speak with you all this evening. This item is a recommendation for the city to enter into a contract of $133,489 with Rebuilding Together Montgomery County. If approved tonight, Rebuilding Together Montgomery County will implement the city's Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG's, homeowner repair program. This approval will also allow the city manager to develop all necessary contracts, agreements, and other materials necessary to help Rebuilding Together successfully implement the program. For some background on the homeowner repair program, Gaithersburg first identified homeowner rehabilitation as a CDBG eligible activity in its federal fiscal year 2021 action plan. Without any spending in federal fiscal year 2021 or 2022 and allocated funding per fiscal year, Gaithersburg currently has a total of $133,489 to launch the program. The focus of the program is to finance needed repairs and upgrades to improve eligible owner-occupied housing in the city of Gaithersburg. The program will address health and safety concerns and include energy conservation and accessibility upgrades, and staff anticipate that repair and upgrade work will cost up to $10,000 per home. The program is for income eligible households who are at or below 80% of the area median income, or AMI. For a single person household, 80% of the AMI is $66,750, and for a household of 4, it is currently $95,300. Given the identified need, amount of funding available, and current staffing configuration, the city decided to administer the program externally through a nonprofit organization or subrecipient who would implement and manage the program. To solicit proposals for a qualified subrecipient, staff went through a competitive procurement process. The city published a request for proposal, or RFP, on April 14th, 2023, which remained open until May 10th. The solicitation was advertised on the City of Gaithersburg procurement website, the Washington Post, and through the e-Maryland marketplace, where over 100 vendors were notified. There was only one submission, which we believe was a result of the value of the contract being relatively small for this sort of project. And although the city expected to receive more than one submission, the selection committee is confident that the organization who submitted, Rebuilding Together Montgomery County, is competent to execute the program. The selection committee was comprised of personnel the city considered stakeholders in the project. They reviewed the submission, evaluated, and scored the proposal. As I stated, the proposed subrecipient is Rebuilding Together Montgomery County. They're an affiliate of the National Rebuilding Together Network and were founded by community volunteers in 1990. The mission of Rebuilding Together is repairing homes, revitalizing communities, and rebuilding lives. They aim to mitigate the risk of foreclosure, displacement, and chronic substandard living conditions for low-income Montgomery County homeowners by providing critical home repairs, accessibility modifications, and links to community resources. The vision of Rebuilding Together is a safe home for everybody in Montgomery County. So I just wanted to quickly take a moment to acknowledge that Maury Peterson, the Executive Director of Rebuilding Together, is with us tonight, as well as board members Francine Walker and Board Vice President Lance Woolen. So I wanted to thank you all so much for the work that you do throughout the city and the county, and also for being with us tonight. Rebuilding Together has a history of working with the city and have been recipients of city money in the past. They currently participate on the city's hoarding task force, being an instrumental partner in supporting residents and their families who are in need as a result of hoarding behaviors, as well as educating and informing the community about hoarding issues. The selection committee recommends moving forward with Rebuilding Together as they comprehensively address the requirements and tasks described in the RFP. Those include an understanding of city financial matters, including the project budget and the distinction between costs for repairs and costs for administration, and also an understanding of federal financial matters and requirements, including an accurate understanding of the types of CDBG eligible repairs and expenses, environmental factors including lead-based paint and other federal regulations. Their scope of work is comprehensive, and staff feel confident that they have the skills needed to launch the program. They have a long history of providing repair services to homeowners in Montgomery County and have conducted over 350 repairs in a 2-year period. After evaluation, the selection committee recommends awarding the homeowner repair program contract to Rebuilding Together Montgomery County. They are a viable organization capable to implement the city's home repair program. Thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Maureen.
Of course, yes.
Questions, comments? Lisa,
Thank you.
then Jim.
Maureen, I understand that this may be your first time coming before mayor and council.
Yes.
And there was a little birdie by the name of Tom Lonergan Seeger who suggested that we may ask you some hard questions.
He did warn me ahead of time.
But I would like to tell you that you did a fantastic job, and I actually have no questions.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Well done. Okay, Jim, then Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, and great job.
Thank you.
I love this program.
Great.
And Rebuilding Together Montgomery is such a great organization. Thank you for being here tonight. I've seen your little signs in front of projects all across the region, and it always makes me smile. Actually, I want to say when I was knocking doors once, I came across one of your projects and had a great conversation with, I think it was the project manager, and we can't do this kind of work without great partners. And you brought up the fact that we didn't get a whole lot of submissions because of the number, the total number, and I really appreciate an organization recognizing the need and being willing to step up and fill that void. So thank you, and I am pleased to support this resolution.
Okay, Ryan.
Thank you. I echo the great comments of my colleagues, and this will be a softball question.
Okay.
Not a hard question.
Okay.
And echo the wonderful comments about the partnership, and thank you all for being here. One of the concerns I have is this is a great program. It's a very creative and great use of CDBG funds, which have requirements that limit how we can spend them. How do we make sure that we're reaching out to the folks who are eligible and make sure they know what the program is and that they're eligible? I assume there's going to be some sort of marketing plan and outreach plan associated with the work to be done in this agreement. And you may not have worked out all the details of that
course.
yet, but I just kind of want to raise that as an issue that I think we need to make sure that we're doing all the creative things that we can do to be effectively reaching out to folks to make sure they know the program exists.
Absolutely. It isn't something we've worked out completely yet, but through the work through the Division of Housing, we have GALP recipients who are typically lower income. We have, we designate who makes under 80% who would be eligible, or at least at the time of purchase. So we have kind of a mailing list already that we can reach out and start there. We also work very closely with both the Division of Community Services, and then Neighborhood Services has been an integral part of this whole project since the beginning. And so, they're more connected with residents and constituents. And then I also know, Rebuilding Together has a lot of great connections in the community, and they do a lot of their own outreach. So I think it would just be a team effort between our department or our divisions, and then also Rebuilding Together.
Great, thank you.
So, of course. Yeah.
Neil.
So I've also witnessed this program in action firsthand. One day on a Sunday afternoon, I got a call from our state senator who said, "Get out of the house and go look at this house off Shady Grove Road that was being rehabilitated by this organization." So I've been very impressed with the work. I'm also glad to see two of my Leadership Montgomery classmates in the room representing the organization. And on the basis of everything I've seen and heard, I'd like to move the resolution.
Great. Thank
Second.
you.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, that carries unanimously. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Maureen.
Thank you very much.
Next, Kevin Headers. We're going to talk about the miniature golf pond repair. I love our miniature golf course. I think it's great. We want to
Yes.
keep that thing. All right, go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The resolution I bring before you this evening is to authorize the city manager to enter into contract for the repair of the miniature golf pond. The current PVC liner was installed in 2008. The age and deteriorating condition of the liner results in leaking and requires excessive maintenance. The liner constantly pulls away from the wall and is easily damaged. The pond also does not have an efficient way to drain the water. Due to this work being very specific and not expansive in scope, along with a tight construction schedule, the design build delivery method was selected. The project was originally advertised on December 22nd, 2021 on the city's webpage and in an issue of e-Maryland Marketplace. No proposals were submitted at that time. Staff revised the solicitation documents to include photos of an empty pond and water height measurements. The project was re-advertised on the city's webpage and in an issue of e-Maryland Marketplace on July 8, 2022. 2 proposals were received on August 3rd, 2022. Both proposals exceeded the city's internal estimate of $347,000, and staff believes much of the shortfall is attributed to the supply chain and labor issues resulting from the pandemic. A committee of staff evaluated the proposals for each firm's understanding of the requirements and technical approach, work plan, organizational and staff experience, references, and price proposal. Paddock Swimming Pool Company's proposal is the highest cost, but was selected as the most responsive and responsible offer with the best value meeting city specifications. Mar Allen's proposal did not meet the required minimum qualifications as detailed in the solicitation. Based on the committee's evaluation, staff recommends awarding the contract to Paddock Swimming Pool Company an amount of $747,935. The allocation of funds to meet the budget shortfall was approved for the fiscal year 2024 operating budget, and said funds are available. Do you have any questions?
Questions, comments?
What's the explanation for the amount of time between receipt of proposals and award? It's almost a year.
I think it just, we did a comparative analysis between PVC and concrete. We're going to put concrete liner in this. So I think we just wanted to provide the city manager's office and upper management with a look at long-term, what concrete will.
No. So So we received the proposals on August 3rd, 2022. It's almost a year later that we're evaluating and making award. I was just curious as to the lapse in time there.
Kevin, I might be able to address that a little bit more. As Kevin noted, staff asked for a comparative analysis between the different methods, and we also looked at the lifespan cycle, so that took us a little while to do. In addition, we worked with the Park and Recs department to make sure that this improvement would be the long haul improvement, so we had large discussions about what changes we might make to the miniature golf course over the next 20-25 years. And it was determined that the pond would always stay in the same location, but that took some discussion about how that might work. So that's really the delay. Rather than going back out and bid, we were able to get the contractor to agree to the price that was originally proposed. So that's why we're before you tonight.
Would it be worth resoliciting, given, I mean, if your market research is showing that it's supply chain and labor issues, you know, I know from my day job, supply chain in the last year has markedly improved. And so the cost impacts of last year may not be reflective of the supply chain realities of this year.
Given the materials, I don't think it's changed in terms of the concrete, and then really the labor is the more significant part, which has actually probably gone up in price compared to what it was last year. So we could go back out for a bid if that's council's direction, but we believe this is still a valid bid and a good bid given what we see in the marketplace.
Neil.
So, looking at the numbers here, it's a little shocking going from helping people rehabilitate their houses for $133,000 to fixing a pond and a miniature golf course for $750,000 almost. Please tell me this is the kind of cost that's going to last us for many, many years. What's the expected lifespan of this pond, given the repair work we're looking at?
I think with a concrete liner, you're looking at 50 years plus. I mean, you know, maintain it well, it will last for a really long time.
Okay, I feel better about that. The price per year is a lot lower than I might have expected. All right, thanks.
Jim.
Not familiar with exactly the makeup of how this particular pond will be constructed. I've had experience on the HOA side where we've had to redo the coping on a pool. Is this a similar kind of thing where we do this, but then there's still going to need to be maintenance throughout the years to do things like that every so often?
As we do this, I mean, you'll have, you know, some maintenance as far as we'll have to keep a certain amount of water level in the pond over winter. I mean, it'll have to be cleaned every now and again, just pressure washed or acid washed maybe every so many years. But as far as maintenance, it will drastically reduce. We'll be putting in a drainage system. So, you know, now with the PVC liner, we have to go in there and actually manually pump out the water. It just doesn't drain out. And it's much more difficult to clean and keep clean. So with everything that we would do, it would drastically cut down on maintenance.
Lisa.
Thank you. One question. I just noticed this is CIP money versus operating. Why CIP? Is this going to be phased over a period of time?
The project, the work?
The project, yes.
No, it will be done. It's a design build, so design and permitting and construction.
It's CIP because the asset that we're fixing is going to last more than 1 year.
Okay.
It's going to last 50 years apparently.
Lasts for a long time.
Okay.
Can I ask another question, Mayor?
Yeah.
Thank you. Is the water feature at the miniature golf pond purely cosmetic, or does it serve a utility purpose?
I believe it's purely cosmetic. I mean, it's just for aesthetics and just beautiful.
So it's not stormwater management or
No.
a receiving pond or something?
No.
Did staff look at whether or not we need the pond rather than spending almost $1 million to renovate the pond?
Yeah, that was part of the initial analysis of whether we could just eliminate the pond, but it's so integral because it's not just the pond, right? There are water features that flow throughout. We think of it as one location, but really it's more than one location at the miniature golf. It actually flows through the course. So eliminating it would require significant improvements in terms
To
of
other
the
areas.
overall golf course.
Okay.
There's the waterfall, there's channels that run all through it, and this is just the main body of the pond itself that has the PVC liner that holds everything.
I've played it many times. I mean, with my kids, and it is the main feature of the design of it, and I think it is an important feature, and I think we would end up spending more to completely redesign the miniature golf course versus making this one-time investment.
Do you want to move the resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, Cindy Hines. Welcome, Cindy. We're going to talk about the Fred Felton Neighborhood Matching Grant Program.
Good evening, Mayor and council
Grab that microphone. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Cindy Hines, Assistant to the City Manager. This is the resolution of the Mayor and City Council awarding the Frederick J. Felton Neighborhood Matching Grant to various communities. This dollar-for-dollar matching grant is open to all homeowner associations, condominium associations, citizens associations, or any group that represents a majority of residents in any given neighborhood. The offers grant up to $5,000 for community improvements. Additional information can be found on the city's website. The application portal opened on April 18th, and applications were accepted through May 26th. New this year were enhancements made to the program to better address the needs of communities located in the equity emphasis areas as defined by the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments Transportation Planning Board. These areas were designated based on income levels and minority population sizes gathered from tract level census data. In addition to what is covered under the standard program, applicants in equity emphasis areas may apply for funding to cover one-time maintenance and repair projects. Additionally, communities within equity emphasis areas are eligible to receive a greater match up to 75% city match to 25% community match up to $5,000. 25 applications were received and reviewed by staff from the City Manager's Office, Planning and Code Administration, and Public Works. Of that total, 17 were from neighborhood and equity emphasis areas. Staff recommends approval of 17 awards totaling $60,000. Copies of the grants have been provided for your review. I just want to take a moment to clarify that it's completely a coincidence that we received 17 equity emphasis area applications and we approved 17. They were not all from the equity emphasis area, so there is a mix in there. It's just a coincidence that the numbers came out that way. With the approval of the council, the awardees will receive a notification letter identifying the award amount, requirements of the grant, and the performance period. Awardees are reimbursed for project costs after the work has been confirmed and itemized receipts have been submitted. This resolution is provided for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Cindy. I will just note for the public that one of the communities on this list is Orchard Place, where I live. And I had nothing to do with getting on this list, and I have no vote, as Rob loves to remind me. But I just wanted to disclose that for a purpose of the public. Ryan, and then Tim.
Thank you, Mayor. I love this program. I love that it's named after our departed former colleague, Fred Felton, may he rest in peace. And I particularly love that this year we've started factoring in equity considerations, as you explained, to ensure that the funds for this program are equitably distributed to our communities. I think it's just a great example of something we do in Gaithersburg that's extra, but that is targeted in a way to make sure that it has a great impact in our neighborhoods. And I'm kind of excited that one of the last things I'm going to get to vote on as a council member is the approval of this program for this year.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up Fred. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is named after him because it's a program that he's a former assistant city manager, passed away way too early, and this is a program that was near and dear to his heart, and as is ours. We're going to go to Jim and then Neil.
Thank you, Mayor. And I do love this program. Having been an HOA president, as I already stated, I was unaware of that Saybrook had submitted anything. I know they typically do submit something. So I learned about what they had submitted when I read the packet. So I just wanted to disclose that as well. But I love this program because it really does spur reinvestment in the community. And it's always... We were always having conversations. How can we maximize what we can get from the city, and what big swings can we do, or what really is needed? So I'm glad to be able to be here and look at all of the different projects that were submitted, and I too appreciate the equity lens that we're putting there to really try to help foster that reinvestment in those areas of our city.
Neil, and then Rob.
All right, first of all, it's nice to see you, Cindy. It's the first time I've seen you without a mask in like 3 or 4 years. Anyway, as has been said, this is a great program. I also love it, and my HOA is not on this list, so I don't know if they were rejected, but it's something that we've benefited from. And it's also, I've noted the wide variety of programs from, repairing a fence to putting up signs to landscaping, sculptures, all kinds of things. So I think it's an opportunity for communities to create some unique whatever they need or want, and ways to create communities that are separate, that are different than other communities, that establish their own identity. So I think it's a great program, and I love to see it every year when you come before us.
Thanks, Neil. Rob.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to echo all the comments that have been made. This is a great program. It really adds to one of the things that I notice about Gaithersburg is as you drive around, you see the quality of the neighborhoods and how they're maintained. I will note that, looking at other agenda items, we do focus on aspects outside of HOAs as well, which I think is great as well. I will note that my neighborhood has 3 of the grants on this program. It looks like Parkland's 2 did not submit something, so I'm going to have to ask why. I will also note that under a prior decision issued by the Ethics Commission, because my wife is on the HOA board of the Watkins Mill Town Center, I'm going to recuse myself from the vote.
Okay. Would someone like to move the resolution?
I would very much like to move the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And we have 1 abstention.
Abstain.
And
Okay.
note that he abstained from 14 new pet waste stations in his community.
All right.
But they're still going to get
Cindy,
them.
thank you very
Personally
much.
gratified, officially abstaining.
Okay, Sam, welcome. We have policy discussion on the new pier, the dining pier, outdoor dining pier at Rio.
All right, good evening. So this is a policy discussion for Schematic Development Plan Application SDP-9462-2022. The subject property shown on the monitor is the 18.09 acre lake parcel at the Rio Washingtonian Center, an MXD zone site that is generally bounded by I-270 to the north, Boardwalk Place to the south, and Rio Boulevard to the west. The applicant, 14 Blue Ridge Restaurant Group, filed an SDP application on December 9th, 2022, requesting approval for a 1,012 square foot restaurant pier in the Washingtonian Rio Lake to be utilized by Copper Canyon as a covered outdoor dining area. The application is in conformance with the sketch plan for the subject property, which is the Fifth Amendment to Annexation X-159. A joint public hearing for this application was held on May 1st, and 1 member of the public provided testimony during the course of the public hearing. During the course of the joint public hearing, the following aspects of the proposed plan were discussed: architecture, pier mechanics, and operation and safety of the dining pier. The applicant responded to all questions during the joint public hearing. The only changes to the plans between the joint public hearing and tonight's presentation was a revision to the zoning tables to correct some minor typos. The Planning Commission's record closed at 5 p.m. on May 31st, 2023, and the application was reviewed by the Planning Commission during their June 7th, 2023 meeting. During that meeting, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the subject application. The Mayor and City Council's record closed at 5 p.m. on June 14th, 2023. There has been no additional public testimony since the joint public hearing. The SDP application meets applicable zoning requirements established during the sketch plan. There is sufficient parking with a 159 parking space surplus. The proposed structure is well below 5 stories, and the FAR is below the required 0.75. As shown on this slide, the site layout has remained unchanged. There is still a 1,012 square foot covered dining area located adjacent to the Copper Canyon restaurant. There are 2 gangways for the covered pier. One is primarily for diners, while the other gangway is for restaurant staff. No changes to the architecture have been made since the joint public hearing. The pier section above the waterline and below the floor level will be cladded with cedar wood planks. Both the structural columns and the roof will be made of wood. The roof and the fascia will match the existing Copper Canyon building. Wood vertical slats will be installed above the roof beam and below the roof on the west and east elevations. A 3 foot 4 inch tall steel railing system will be present on all 4 sides. The proposed pier will not contain any screens or permanent walls. Staff is supportive of the subject application SDP-9462-2022, finding it in accordance with the master plan, sketch plan, and zoning ordinance. The proposed dining area will enhance the integration of compatible and complementary uses within the shopping center. Further, the plan continues to support a vibrant mix of uses at the Rio Washingtonian Center. The proposed materials and design will integrate harmoniously with the existing development and will not adversely affect the surrounding community. A draft resolution of approval for SDP-9462-2022 has been included in the packet and is ready for final action should the council so choose. I am happy to answer any questions, and a representative from the Peterson companies is here as well, should you have any questions for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is policy discussion. I'll note that if I were voting tonight, I would be voting in favor of this project. I think it's going to be a cool new amenity to an already amazingly cool place, and I hope the council is in agreement. Rob, you want to go first?
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the presentation. And I'll say it every time that I can. I appreciate the investment that the Peterson company has been putting in the Rio over the past few years, including having us over to watch people rappel off of buildings not too long ago. I do have some concern about, does this open the floodgate for other requests for outdoor dining and incursion into the pond? But I trust both the city and the applicant to be able to, and the Rio ownership to be able to manage that. And I think this looks like a great amenity, and so I'll support it.
Okay. Neil?
Agreed.
Ryan?
Also agreed.
Lisa?
Agreed.
Jim?
I agree. My one concern is the traffic between the restaurant and the pier, and plates of food coming out and people getting in the way. But the more I thought about it and thinking about, there's plenty of places that have curbside seating where that has to be addressed. So I think it's just going to be people getting used to that new traffic flow. So I will move the resolution unless anybody else has anything.
Yeah, I just had one more comment about the fact that after 16 years, Ryan's last official word is just going to be agreed.
It wasn't done yet.
Oh, I hand it back. I cede my time.
I wanted to say that one of the concerns I had with the initial proposal was, what was this going to do to the view shed of the lake from different angles? What was it going to do to the paddle boating traffic lanes? And I think we talked a little bit about that during the public hearing. It seems to me that the footprint of the project is small enough that it's not going to have a significant impact on those things. But I do want to encourage the applicant as they go forward to think about making sure that the aesthetics and the view shed kind of line up with the proposal as presented to us, and make sure that those things, whether it's the roof or other things, are just sort of, aesthetically pleasing and match the surrounding. I note that you said in the presentation that the roof is designed to match the roof of the restaurant, so that kind of stuff makes sense, but I just think we need to keep that in mind. Process-wise, does this go back for final site plan to the Planning Commission?
Correct. So they would need final site plan, which would be just Planning Commission.
Got it. Okay. All right. That's my final word, Councilman.
Someone
Move
second
the resolution.
Well, Jim moved the resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next, we have from City Attorney.
I guess I'll maybe be last this evening to wish Ryan his best wishes in his new position. I do appreciate the collaborative approach that you've had with my office throughout these many years. I've been here almost as long as you have, but not quite. And I also appreciate the creative way that you look to find solutions to projects, or problems, but still looking at the legal side of it to ensure that we had authority to do what we did. I do recall more than one email at 3 in the morning, one specifically asking about our limitation on ordinances on gun control. So I won't miss that part, but but I do sincerely want to wish you best luck in your new position, and we'll be here cheering you on.
Thank you.
Very nice. Anything from any other staff? Okay, not seeing anything. I will remind you to you're invited to join us for our work session next week where we get an update on the Great Seneca Highway Pedestrian Bridge Project. Next regular meeting of the Mayor and Council will be on I'm assuming it's a Monday. Yeah, July 17th, 7:30 p.m. right here or on Zoom. And happy July 4th to everyone. And until next time, let's do great things, Gaithersburg. We are adjourned.